You know how sometimes you stumble across a set of documents online that just don't make any sense together? Like a collection of digital breadcrumbs that seem to lead nowhere, but you can't shake the feeling that they're part of some hidden puzzle. Well, that's exactly what we're doing today. We are piecing together one of the most unusual stories I have ever come across, all built from a trail of seemingly random files.
So take a look at this. On one side, you've got a court docket from Dade County, Missouri. The case style, David Russell Parker incapacitated. It's a guardianship case filed way back in 1983. And on the other side, a screenshot of some heated online comment. A formal, kind of sad legal document about a man deemed unable to care for himself sitting right next to the raw, unfiltered voice of a total stranger on the internet. Talk about a mismatch, right? It's just jarring.
And believe me, it gets even weirder. So here we have a child support payment summary for Missouri for a David Parker. Just routine payments, $73 and change. Totally mundane, bureaucratic stuff. And next to it, this really abstract poetry from an ad concept called The Hairpin. It says, the information plucked from her skull, written in her hairpin what was once inherent. A practical financial document right alongside this super philosophical verse. So that's the big question, isn't it? What on earth connects a decades-old guardianship case, some random online comment, child support payments, and cryptic poetry? This isn't just random noise from the internet. Nope. These are all pieces of a single, deliberate construction. And in this explainer, we are going to pull back the curtain and meet the architect behind it all.
So how does it all connect? To get that, we have to meet the person at the center of this whole web. This is the individual, the weaver, you could say, who takes all these separate, random-looking documents and ties them together into one cohesive, though pretty unconventional story.
Now, this person, well, they don't just go by one name. Across all these different documents, they pop up under a bunch of self-appointed titles. The Quantum Observer, an artist called Carnage One and Only, the Wishmaker, even the Lawmaker. And this isn't really about hiding, it's about defining. It's about a fluid, self-created identity that's at the very heart of this entire thing.
And this quote, which comes directly from their own recorded talks, it reveals the entire mission. My life is a living truth. I'm writing it. The whole point isn't just to live life, but to actively author it, to take personal struggles, outside data, legal codes, history, all of it, and weave it into a brand new, self-defined reality. But how do you even do that?
Okay, so to understand what's happening here, we first have to understand the worldview behind it. It's kind of like we need a secret decoder ring. And luckily, the source materials actually give us one. It's a series of lectures called Secret History, and they lay out the whole philosophical framework for everything that comes next. The whole system kicks off by completely redefining three big ideas. First up, reality itself. The argument goes that we can never really know objective reality, what's actually out there. Everything we see and feel is shaped by our own senses and perceptions. And the big takeaway from that is this: the world we experience is the world we create in our own minds. Reality is literally what we imagine it to be. All right, the second concept to get flipped on its head is money. In this worldview, money isn't some scarce, valuable thing. No, it's seen as an infinite construct, created from nothing. Its scarcity is just an illusion, a trick, really, used by powerful people to create what's called artificial misery that forces us all to work. And the third and final piece of the puzzle is history. You know, the history we all learned in school. Well, here it's framed as a totally false story, constructed by the powerful and basically implanted in our minds to keep us in line. So if you start to believe that reality, money, and history are all just stories, well, that means you can start writing your own. Now, here's where it gets really fascinating. These aren't just abstract ideas floating around. This is a practical guide. The protagonist goes out and looks for tangible, real-world documents and then reinterprets them as evidence to back up their own self-authored story. The absolute linchpin of this entire construction, the key to the whole thing, is finding something that just doesn't fit the official narrative. A kind of glitch in the matrix. For our protagonist, this key piece of proof is called a temporal anomaly, and it becomes the cornerstone of their new identity. And here it is. This is the anomaly. The sources describe this historical archive collection that was totally finished and sealed off before 1910. But somehow, inside this pre-1910 archive, the birth date, August 10, 1993, for a David Russell Parker shows up.
Now, to most of us, this would look like a simple typo, right? A data entry error. But within this framework, it's interpreted as ultimate proof. It's evidence of an identity that exists outside the normal flow of time, connecting the past and the present.
So let's pull all these threads together now. We've got this philosophy that says reality is just a story, and we've got the discovery of a temporal anomaly that serves as hard proof. The final step is to put all these pieces together into a repeatable blueprint for creating what's called a living truth.
And here is that blueprint. It's a 5-step process. Step 1, you start with a core belief that you are the author of your own reality. Step 2, you find metaphors in outside systems, like reinterpreting a legal term like eviction to mean you're kicking out old negative energy. Third, you find those personal anomalies, like that 1993 birth date, that prove your new truth. Fourth, you anchor this new reality in a personal, often ancestral history. And finally, step 5, you just inhabit it, you live it. So this entire digital trail we followed, from court documents to weird poetry, it wasn't random at all. It was the careful construction of a world, piece by piece. It's a really fascinating, if pretty extreme, example of someone taking complete authorship of their own life. And, it leaves us with one last pretty big question to think about. If reality really is a story, who's writing yours?